We're also going to Fort Knox. I'm going to go with Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible if we opened it up and there was no gold there?
Over the weekend, Donald Trump doubled down on his plans to audit the gold at Fort Knox, and it's looking like the Federal Reserve may get a gold audit of their own. But do they have a tunnel where they can secretly fill their vaults? I'm going to catch you up on all this insanity right now. Buy your gold and silver online from SD Bullion. New customers get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new. Thank you so much for watching. I do sincerely appreciate it. Here is the tweet from Rand Paul. This came out last Friday, and it's actually a letter to Scott Bessent, formally asking to look at the gold at Fort Knox. So it's looking like Rand Paul might get his own little audit. And in this, he says, despite holding over half of total U.S. gold reserves, Fort Knox has not been subject to a formal audit since 1974. And we actually have some footage from when they opened the vaults in 1974. So obviously at that point in time there was still some gold there, but what about now? Here is the full clip of Trump talking about Fort Knox last Saturday.
We're also going to Fort Knox. I'm going to go with Elon. And would anybody like to join us? Because we want to see if the gold is still there. We want to see. Wouldn't that be terrible? We open up this Fort Knox. It's just solid granite that's 5 feet thick. The front door, you need 6 musclemen to open it up. I don't even think they have windows. Wouldn't that be terrible if we opened it up and there was no gold there? So we're going to open those doors. We're going to take a look. And if there's 27 tons of gold, we'll be very happy. I don't know how the hell we're going to measure it, but that's okay. We want to see lots of nice, beautiful, shiny gold in Fort Knox. Don't be totally surprised. We open the door, we'll say, there's nothing here. They stole this too.
What is this? What is this? Where's all the money?
That's as good as money, sir. Those are IOUs. Go ahead and add it up. Every cent's accounted for. Look. See this? That's a car. 275,000. Might want to hang on to that one.
Will they find the gold there, or will it just be a bunch of IOUs? Here is Elon Musk also talking about Fort Knox over the weekend.
Tell us about Fort Knox.
Yeah.
It's Kentucky. It's a military base. It's a ton of gold, tons and tons and tons
like
of gold.
5,000 tons of gold or
5,000 tons of gold are there in the ground in like this. I mean, it's a very secure thing.
I think we all want to see it.
I'd love to see it.
Like, this is your gold, by the way. It's the public's gold.
Do you think it's not there?
I don't know. But I think
you just want to see it.
Yeah, we want to go see it and just make sure, like, somebody did spray paint some lead or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like, is this real gold? Buy at the bar, you know?
Didn't dent.
But I think, honestly, you know, part of this also is just like, let's have some fun and like I said, all this gold at Fort Knox, it's the public's gold. It's your gold. So, like, I think you have, like, a right to see it.
You want to take a tour?
You know? Yeah. I think we should have do a tour. And then the president last night was like, I think he's in favor of it. That would be cool. And then it should be like a live tour. Like, you can see what's going on, open the door, like, what's behind it.
Well, and there's...
You know, I think I'd watch that.
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, what does 5,000 tons of gold look like?
What does
How
it
big
look
is
like?
that? Is it the size of this?
It's got to be pretty big,
I mean,
you know?
It's got to be a lot of
Maybe
gold.
there's some other stuff in there, like just walk around, like, I don't know, maybe they got some other stuff in there.
Are you thinking about auditing the Federal Reserve as well, which is obviously
yeah, sure.
Regulatory economy?
So there you have it. Elon Musk saying that he's willing to audit the gold at the Federal Reserve as well. Now, as some of you know, the New York vault is supposed to hold over 13 million troy ounces of gold. That's a lot of gold. And in my last video, I pointed out with the Fort Knox audit they could simply move gold from some of the other locations to beef out the vaults at Fort Knox, and then after the audit is over, they could move the gold back to those other vaults. Well, the problem with the Federal Reserve Bank New York vault is that it is located next door to another massive gold vault, this one controlled by JP Morgan. I will let Mike Maloney explain.
Is the Fed's rarely discussed auxiliary vault, and suggests that the auxiliary vault of the Fed is probably located in the neighboring Chase Manhattan Plaza facility, now run by J.P. Morgan. And if there is, as has been suggested, we know that J.P. Morgan vaults are 5 floors below ground, right across the street from the Federal Reserve vaults, which are 5 floors below ground. Now, there is a reason for that coincidence. That's where the bedrock starts. And so you go all the way down until you hit bedrock, and both of these vaults are going to be roughly at the same level. But since there's an auxiliary vault that's not part of the main vaults underneath the Fed, could there be that tunnel? If there is, that has to be, the military needs to take charge of that tunnel and make sure nothing comes through.
Look, if they can build tunnels thousands of feet long, 100 feet below the Hudson River back in the early 1900s, I think a small tunnel between a couple of skyscrapers is going to be no problem. And here are a couple photos of an abandoned tunnel of the Hudson and Manhattan Railroad along the route between the World Trade Center basements and the Federal Reserve basements. This was exposed during the World Trade Center cleanup, so there certainly could be other underground tunnels that we don't know about. Here are some photos of the plans that were used to build the Federal Reserve Bank, and there actually are some inconsistencies in the thickness of the walls. And then here's a close-up of some of the plans for the basement levels. I believe these were drawn up in the early 1920s. You could see basement levels C, D, and finally E, 50 feet below ground. So there's definitely been some modifications over the years. Did they include a tunnel or not? We may never know. I think a lot of us are suspicious of some type of shenanigans when we see unprecedented amounts of gold flowing into the COMEX. This is coming from London, it's coming from Switzerland, and it's making its way to New York. So lots of gold coming to America. We have these potential gold audits on the horizon. We've got the gold audit in Fort Knox, possibly the Federal Reserve as well. I think all of us just want some answers. We want some clarity. We want to know, is the gold real? Is it actually there? And if it is there, is it owned by the United States of America, or is it pledged to someone else? These are simple questions that we should all be hopefully getting the answers to in the near future.